College is hard. Moving away from home, leaving friends and family, and living with a complete stranger is scary. Financial struggles are real, and C's and D's are common occurrences on the transcript. College students feel about 1 million emotions a day. Happiness, anger, sadness, confusion, frustration, and more. It's understandable that this whirlwind of emotional distress can lead to the development of mental illness. But why do college students really develop mental illness? Who's most likely to develop mental illness? Are there resources available to them? And are they using them? What can colleges do to better help these students? For years, mental health research has worked to answer these questions and more. While there have been some advancements, many questions still remain about college students and their mental health. Let's dive deeper into the mental health and help-seeking behavior of college students. At a young age, students become used to the comfort of their childhood lives. College students, though, quickly struggle with financial independence, social pressures, and challenging classes. These changes are what cause mental illness among young adults in college. In fact, university students are among the most likely to experience mental illness. Meanwhile, colleges are feeling the pressure. In turn, solutions other than traditional therapy have become common on campuses around the country. So why are college students so prone to mental illness? What can be done to change that? Young adults are most likely to develop mental illness during their college years. The most common illness among students? That would be depression, with a 17% positivity rate. Among depression, anxiety, ADHD, OCD, and suicidal tendencies are very common as well. In total, about 35% of college students are mentally ill. But why is this? Financial struggles, social pressure, and schoolwork are some of the main reasons. But research shows that there's more to mental illness in college than these external struggles. With no supervision, college students tend to develop poor, more internal habits during university. Binge drinking, laziness, diet, loneliness, and stress all cause mental illness in college. College students often disregard their mental health compared to physical health. Such unhealthy behaviors can lead to depression, anxiety, and even suicide among students. So, college students are clearly struggling, and universities know that. But what happens next? Colleges have spent years developing programs and mental health resources on campus. Therapy dogs, virtual chat rooms, questionnaires, and therapy groups are all common sources of help on campus. But a problem has arisen that is worrying to colleges and researchers. Students aren't using these resources like they should be. But why is that? Many students don't use mental health resources on campus because of the other options available to them. Religious practices and peer support are common alternatives. Some students do know the resources available to them, though. Instead, they turn to other methods of therapy first. Students are also often unaware of resources on campus. Sometimes they don't even think they work. In general, students don't use mental health resources on campus because they can't or won't. Sometimes because of fear or inability to do so, but more often, this is because of stigma. Stigma is a mark of shame or discredit with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. Simply put, college students feel ashamed to speak up about their mental illness. They're afraid of society judging them because of their struggles and differences. College students only want to fit in with the crowd, and mental illness prevents that. Stigma, though, is arguably one of the main reasons students don't use mental health care. Public stigma is the extent to which the general public negatively stereotypes and discriminates against a stigmatized group. This scares students from opening up about their mental health due to discrimination. Perceived public stigma is the actual inner judgment that occurs within students. These stigmas cause shame and anxiety among students and discourage treatment use. When students feel ashamed to speak up about their mental illness, they won't. Perceived and public stigma restrict the effectiveness of mental health care. In reality, perceived public stigma is much more common than public stigma. This is especially true for less wealthy or international students. Fear of judgment, alongside physical barriers, causes students to back away from mental health treatment. So the verdict is this. Students aren't using the mental health care they have access to. and it's a problem. So what needs to happen? Nowadays, colleges continue to develop new programs with hopes of preventing these problems. But new research has found deeper-rooted issues among students. In general, too many college students experience barriers in accessing mental health care. Sure, there are plenty of mental health resources on campus, but students are still unable or unwilling to access them for various reasons. Now, universities must decide how to encourage help-seeking behavior on campus. Help-seeking behavior is any action of energetically seeking help from the healthcare services or trusted people in the community. When students actively engage with treatment available to them, they are seeking help. The problem is that only 49 to 54% of students say they'd actually seek help when needed. So how can universities change this? The answer may be in peer support. Peer support is the process of giving and receiving encouragement to achieve long-term recovery. Peer support groups lower rates of suicide while offering personal counseling. They've proven effective in destigmatization as well. Those who seek peer support are more likely to seek treatment in the future. While peer support is promising, students are not educated about their mental health. Many homes and schools lack the proper resources to teach young students about mental health. This is problematic because mental health education actually encourages students to seek treatment. So, we now know that mental health education encourages help-seeking behavior in the future. At this point, schools must adapt to this knowledge. Knowing that peer support groups and mental health education are effective, schools now have a choice. They have the option to create new programs that integrate peer support and mental health education. Such programs would surely be effective in combating mental illness in college. Mental Health America, a foundation dedicated to the destigmatization of mental illness, encourages peer support groups that supplement treatment with education and empowerment. College students are one of the largest groups that suffer from mental illness. Financial and social independence mixed with economic stress is hard for many. College life is a struggle, and mental illness often arises. Universities continue to create programs to help their students, but many still don't use them. Some students are still unaware of the resources they have, and others don't have access to them at all. So what can universities do to encourage help-seeking behavior among students? Research continues, but in the meantime, it remains the priority to educate students about their mental health. So, if you're a college student watching this, I want you to stop this video, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. College is hard and life is tough, but you are tougher. It's okay to be mentally ill, and it's more than okay to get help.